The first major wave and explosion of skateboarding in England, I think, came in the 70s. And they built outdoor concrete parks across the whole of the country. And over time, those got so beaten down, nobody had anywhere to skate. We had nothing in England. And then came Radlands. You know, Radlands came in like the early 90s, and it was indoors, right in the middle of England. Good access for everybody in the whole country to go to. When that contest came about and you had all these visiting American pros and European pros and pros from all over the world, that was massive for guys like myself and Tom Penny and guys that came from England skateboarding but really wanted to keep skating and just skate everywhere and skate the whole world. That arguably changed the face of British skateboarding. London as a whole, like, you know, the street skating's pretty good. It's a big metropolitan city, so getting around is, you know, you're like in Manhattan, you're either skating around or you're taking those trains.
It's pretty easy to get around the city, really. It's like, they've got good tube systems. You've got your Circle Line, Central Line, Northern Line. You just jump from one to the other, from spot to spot, and it's just super fast. London skate scene's sick. There's so many people from all different parts of the UK and abroad as well. Weather's pretty good most of the year round. Like, okay, no, that's such a lie. In general, summer lasts kind of 2 to 3 months, and then it's just not good weather again. London skateboarding for sure, like Southbank's one of the most iconic spots in London, England, the world, really. Back in the day, this is where everyone would come. This was sort of the hot spot.
Southbank became a very important and integral place for British skateboarding because it was undercover. Not only was it in the centre of London, the busiest and most bustling city in the country, it's smooth, Southbank, smooth concrete, it's got lots of banks, it's got stairs, it's got little ledges, it's got taller ledges. But yeah, there's a serious breeding ground for street skateboarding in the country.
In 1967, the building was open. Skateboarders then first arrived in the area around 1973, and skateboarding has existed in that space for over 40 years. In 2004, the management at the time decided that they wanted to use that space, and they started to close off bit by bit. So the space you can see now is kind of a third of the entire floor plan. But it's managed to maintain itself for a long time. And in 2013, there was a plan for a massive redevelopment. And it would have meant that the owners would have then filled up the skate area with shops and retail units. So that's what triggered the campaign to start. So the idea was that we're constantly going to be potentially saving Southbank. So why don't we do this one final time? A table was set up outside Southbank. And then from that moment, the public was able to engage with the skaters and talk about, you know, what's really going on. Within a very short period of time, over 100,000 people had signed up to preserve it, so we knew that it was something important. It took a year and a half of a quite hard-fought battle, eventually getting in to speak to the Southbank Centre, who are the landowners, and then speaking to them about the benefits and eventually coming around to an agreement where we were able to preserve the space forever. And that's really important, that it was a really hard thing to do, but we weren't going to give up, and we want to show and inspire other people too.
Southbank was always there from the beginning. You know, upstairs, you know, it's an artistic place where you have dancers and you have, you know, singers, etc. performing, and then you downstairs, you've got the same thing. You've got like these amazing guys and girls pulling off amazing stunts in an artistic expression. And luckily, it's still here today through our successes in, like, you know, the fight to save it.
We didn't want to just literally take money from people. We wanted to be able to continuously give back. So we've had a few initiatives. And the latest one was myself and Matthew Nelm was decided that art is something that's around Southbank all the time. A lot of skaters produce their own art. So can we create a show that brings all of that together, the different decades and people from across the world that really have Southbank as something that's really important to them.
A lot of these people grew up skating Southbank. A lot of them, like Jensen, Blondie, Greg, all these people grew up skating Southbank as well.
Southbank is just one of those places where you get such a difference in age range, from 3 to 4-year-olds up to 50, 55, 60-year-olds. And I think that's the thing about Southbank, is it just brings all these sort of different dynamics together, sort of, you know, different groups of people, women, men, such a different age range. And it's just that one thing about Southbank that does that. The new London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, absolutely brilliant mayor, has pledged money if it can then be matched by the Southbank campaign. Yeah, hopefully eventually they should open up the space again, which I think will be a really, really great thing. It's already a busy space as it is anyway, because sort of what was left was very small, but if they can reopen all of that again, it's just a great experience for people who come down and skate the area.
We've made real progress over the last year. We've raised 240,000 of the 790 we need to reopen this space. If we can do this, then hopefully we can make something incredibly positive for the future of British skateboarding. You can look at our website, llsb.com, and see what you're able to do to help the campaign.
With Street League coming, it just gives that positive edge to saying, right, this is why we need it, this is the opportunities for young people, and it might not just be skateboarding, it might be photographers, it might be filmers. Southbank is in a really good place now.
So for the City of London to get behind that, recognise that, for it to go, yeah, that's great, we'll bring that contest here, right on the heels of what's happened in Southbank, is actually, I think, just a prelude to what's coming up in the next couple of years for skateboarding in general. That sends a huge message out to all the metropolitan cities across the world that that's how you do it.